Aaron says, Xavier Cincinnati players' lack of respect to authority stemmed from an attitude against it. Read 2001 riot. Thoughts? Hey, does anybody know what this 2001 riot is my man is talking about? Is it like the Cincinnati riots, like with the police? Is that the one? Because if that's what you're talking about, you're really making this more complicated than it needs to be. Like, the riots in Cincinnati in 2001, they were about, as I recall, the police laying brothers down left and right. It wasn't about a lack of respect for authority. That was a whole lot more about people being driven to the brink. And somehow you're going to try to connect that to a fight in a basketball game? Do you have any idea how stupid that sounds? Like, I'm going to ask you that right now, because this is some, like, crazy paternalistic nonsense. Right? I can't, like, oh, yeah, they just have a lack of respect for authority. Whose authority are you talking about? Right? Because if you watch that game and what went down or whatever it is, yo, man, Mick Cronin commands no respect. And then you saw that phony press conference that he put on, and he demonstrated himself as being a man that is unworthy of respect. And somehow you are then going to try to associate what happened in this basketball game to the police riots of 2001? Help me help you. Stop and think, right? Because I don't know if the person, like, who is asking this question, I have no idea what your ethnicity is. Your question is racist, right? Let's just get that part straight right now. Your question is racist. There's no way in the world a bunch of white dudes would get into a fight. And oh, by the way, white dudes get in fights all the time, right? There's no way in the world a bunch of white dudes going to get into a fight and you're going to try to turn this back to some societal event that happened prior, right? You ain't gonna tie it to Columbine or nothing else that you can possibly come up with. You're not gonna do that. This is outright 100% racism. And I really don't care who you are or what your background is or where you're from in this. You need to get your racist head checked. And I'm going to check your racist head right now. You ready to get checked? I can check you. Let me invite some people here for this checking. About to check somebody on the Evening Jones. Tune in and enjoy. Also, if you're just joining us, click join event and you can get in and ask your questions, and this very thing can happen to you if you don't watch yourself. Okay, what we had with Cincinnati Xavier was a collective institutional failure. Collective failure. We can go into numerous parties who failed in this. First of all, and obviously, we had the players that were actually out here fighting, right? They failed. We had the coaches that were supposed to be supervising these players and supposed to be in charge. Both of them failed. And we have the sports information department at Xavier, which absolutely failed. Like how Xavier isn't looking for a new sports information director right now is absolutely beyond me. I have no idea. Like, I recognize if ever I need anything from Xavier, that SID ain't going to take my phone calls. But come on, the SID knows, look, he or she knows that he or she really screwed the pooch on that one. Now, we'll go to this in order. The players, again, is obvious, and that's why I don't really understand the need that people have to beat the players over the head about what happened, because it's right there. It's self-evident. We know the deal. Like, now you got the district attorney talking about looking at the tape and seeing about who to level charges against. You mean to tell me you ain't got no crime to fight? Like any actual real live crime. You don't have any crime to fight. Because I would imagine in a city like Cincinnati, there would be a lot of crime to fight. But how in the world are you not out here fighting this crime? You're going to be looking at videotape in a basketball game. But you ain't fighting crime. Go fight some crime. That's all. I was under the impression that when you were a kid and you were growing up and you wanted to be a police officer, the reason was that you wanted to fight crime. Why would you do anything that would cut into your ability to fight crime? Why don't you want to live your dreams? You want to be a district attorney. You're part of the crime fighting process too. Why aren't you out here fighting crime? I simply do not understand why you would love fighting crime so bad and then voluntarily take your attention away from crime fighting opportunities. I don't get that at all. I don't get that, right? Okay. It's a fight. These things happen. I'm not saying it's right when it happens, but these things happen. Now, I've heard people who have come directly to me and they've said that they felt that I was not nearly critical enough of Xavier and focusing my attention to Cincinnati. I focused my attention on Cincinnati because the whole damn team jumped up off the bench at the same time. You got a dude in warm-ups who the whole way is basically standing up with his toe on the line, waiting for somebody to throw the first whatever, and then he was out there throwing haymakers, right? It was Cincinnati that had the dude who threw the ball, setting things off even further, then went over there looking for people to fight, right? That's Cincinnati. That same dude winds up, that's Yancey Gates, on the other side of the court. Dude's getting in his face. He throws the 3 jabs in the air, which, by the way, he was, like, nice to do. He had calmed down by then because all he did was throw the jabs to let them know. It wasn't like he went, like, just wailing on people, right? Which is a point that I'll get to in a second in discussion of that sucker punch. So he does that right there, right? Okay, cool. And then he gets over on the other side, and I don't know what the hell was going on in little buddy's mind, that walk-on, who decided he was going to come over there and talk to Yancey Gates, and because Yancey was held back, so he's about to talk. Stall off in his jaw, right? Then he tried to hit Yancey, who was being held back, and he missed. Then he got suspended 4 games, right? Now, I don't believe for a second that young man writes his own papers for class. How could he? How could he be out there doing... See, that's the kind of stuff that makes them look into y'all for academic probation when you're out there doing stupid stuff like that. This dude already rocked your man. Your man was not small. Rocked him. And now you decide you want some, right? Either way, we'll get to Xavier in a second. The other Cincinnati point is the little Gwen character. I think that's how you say his name. The one that caught 2 Holloway with the little love tap under the jaw that kind of really set everything off, right? You don't touch somebody's face. You deserve to get thrown to the ground. I ain't got no problem. Look, you don't touch people in the face. We all know the rules. You're not going to touch a senior leader on a basketball team in the face and not have somebody come throw you on the ground, right? It's just kind of how it works out, whether you like it or not. Anyway, little buddy at the end of the fight's over. Dude is running around the fight looking for somebody to get into it with. And he found that little white dude, number 12. I'm just giving you the description I got, right? He found him, and that dude was like, oh, man. Dude, I thought the fight was over. I was just trying to see what was going on. Looking for people to fight, right? Your whole team hops up at the same time, right? Your whole team hops up at the same time. Your team is looking actively for people to fight throughout the whole thing. Every escalating step in this fight, other than when D. Wells pushed that dude, right? Every escalating step came from Cincinnati. Every single one. And that's why they get more hell on this than anybody else. Somebody said, why did 2 Holloway only get 1 game? Because 2 Holloway got what he got for being a jerk for most of the day. Right? And that's what Xavier's coaches have to explain themselves. You know, I love smack talk as much as anybody else, but for all these people saying they saw what was coming, yo, man, you better call a timeout and get your senior leader, as you put him, and let him know that he needs to fall back, right? Now, if he told him that and he didn't do it, you need to explain yourself. And I don't believe that that's what happened, because otherwise they ain't put a little buddy on the microphone after the game, right? So we got a lot going on here. Xavier did nothing to prevent the building of the situation to the point that it got to, and Cincinnati finally smacked. After all, Cincinnati was on the business end of the beat 'em down. So it works out that way, right? We got referees who apparently didn't do very much to maintain control. And that one ref who was standing under the goal, and I understand he was following the flight of the ball. But he was so slow to get there when that fight started. And the thing that gets me about the ref when he goes over to the fight, he called the tech before he tried to break it up. Right? He's like, bow! Now I'm going to try to break it up. Yo, how about you break it up and you got plenty of time to call it tech? The tech ain't going nowhere. The tech will be there when you get finished. Nobody's going to get on you for making a late call on a tech. You got the option, homie. You got the option, right? So all these things go on in the course of this fight. All these different things. We got the referee. We got the teams. We got the coaches. And Mick Cronin, how are you the last man to figure out what went on? Your whole team is up off the bench. And I'll say it one more time. Y'all got a dude standing up with a toe on the line, ready for action. Okay? Ready for action. And you're the last one. I saw it coming. Then why are you over there sitting in the back? Are you afraid of them? Seriously. Is he afraid of his players? That is the question that you realistically had to ask. Are you afraid of your players? Do your players respect you? Because after the crock that I heard in that presser from Cronin, I don't see any reason to respect him. Right? He got up there and he played all the standard tried and true cards. Every single one of them. And people had the audacity to applaud him for this, right? Somebody had to say it. What the hell was there to say? We can't be out here fighting? Who had to say that? That's not hard. Either way it goes. If you start off, like I talked to enough people in the last few days, they're like, well, at least he said it. If you start your sentence with at least, then what are we really talking about? If the best you got is at least he said it, then it's not worthy of an ovation. You see what I'm saying? It's not worthy of an ovation.